This is a theory that proposes an individual is stuck in Wonderland when he or she becomes completely engulfed by their surroundings, with every foreseeable future leading straight back to the same place mentally. What I mean by being engulfed is that their livelihood is solely dependent on the workings of the environment that this individual is located in, whether it be class, society, nature, or finance. If you are stuck in Wonderland, it means that every alternative path that doesn't lead back to Wonderland is blocked, and only outside sources can divert you onto a different path. In the end, you always end up in the same place mentally, as if you've never left. I've tried to disprove this theory, ultimately by doing whatever I can to get out of my town. I've saved up enough money to buy a plane ticket to California. Not that I hate my town. I just got really sick of being treated the way that I am. I've saved up enough money to buy a plane ticket to California. Not that I hate my town, I just got really sick of being treated the way I am. An outcast, a lonely outsider. The people here just seem to stare, not out of ignorance, but out of caution and suspicion. I'm not a scary person. I just don't have the nicest face, I guess. Moving to California, the people here are much friendlier, especially in downtown San Francisco. Have you tasted the toast there? Well, anyways, moving back to my theory. I changed everything about myself as a person. I smile more, I dress different, smell different. Even my demeanor has changed slightly, but subtly more noticeable. I'm a cheerier person, and as a cheery person, I seem to attract like-minded people. When I feel like a normal, nice person, it really can change the way you think. Finances are difficult, however. It's been difficult managing when the rent here is sky high due to inflation. I met this woman while on the subway to the parlor I work at. She was wearing a loose-fitting yellow dress adorned with sewn-in sunflowers and marigold-colored hats. Despite the clearly well-embellished posh outfit and serenity of her aura, she just seemed to stare outwards. I approached her with a cheery expression, a little "how do you do" deal. Well, obviously I wasn't going to be off-putting, so it was much more casual than that, but you get the picture. She was looking down when I approached her, but once I offered a greeting, she seemed to tense up a little bit, slowly lifting her head so that I could see the sharpness of her jawline pointing straight at me. A beautifully freckled face and pale blue eyes sullenly striking in the subway smog. "Hello," she replied. "How are you this afternoon, Miss, Cheryl," she replied. "Ah, Cheryl. Lovely day for it, isn't it?" "Mm-hmm," she replied. "Well, I'm off now. Ta-ta." "Bye then," she replied. Oh, Cheryl, a lovely woman with a cold demeanor and downward gaze. I wanted to share the joy I've collected with you. Perhaps your cautious aura is a result of your unhappiness? If the Wonderland theory is true, I can make you as happy as I. We met every day after that. Despite my efforts at small talk, she only seemed to reciprocate her own personality. My cheery demeanor, her distinguished, sullen, and cold expressions countering it. Oh, but she was a blessing. The prettiest person I've ever seen. The prettiest lady I've ever seen. One day, I decided to bring up something on my mind. "Hi again, Cheryl, it's me," I said. "Oh, hello again." "So today's the day that you'll be free, right?" I said. "Correct. Well, after my shift, yes." "Why don't we hang out sometime? I just rented a car. I can pick you up," I said. "Yes, that sounds lovely. Are you sure? It's quite the luxury that you've been able to afford a vehicle with the economy and all." "I don't mind at all, really. I've been wanting to treat you to a memorable experience for a while," I said. "Oh, you shouldn't have. It's my treat," I said. "Okay, deal." Cheryl works as a florist, so we decided to visit the old botanical garden. She says she used to go there as a kid to admire the plants, but now that it's been abandoned, she can collect samples of the flora for herself. Oh, gosh, I am so excited for this! Adorning myself in a casual green shirt and burgundy cargo pants, I decided that maybe I should take up gardening. Can't hurt to try. I'm sure Cheryl would love it. After her shift ended, I drove straight to her workplace. Just on time, she comes out looking absolutely rugged. Rugged, yet shining all the same. Like a rose covered in dirt, yet with the prettiest shade of red. With a soft smirk, she slipped into the car door, collapsing onto the leather-lined car seat with a heavy sigh. Her eyes barely lifting themselves to allow for her to seem energetic. Long day, huh? Huh? Yeah, a really long day, she replied. Yeah, I know how that is. Let's put on some music, she replied. That'd be nice. Anyone you were thinking of? I think I'll put on some Ethel Cain, she replied. Who? So we're listening to Ethel Cain on our way to the greenhouse, and she sings quietly to A House in Nebraska, myself focusing on the road. I decide that I'm going to ask her a question that has been on my mind ever since I got here. Dipping into the abandoned trail, the transition from urban city street to a more rough and patchy part of the city was quite jarring, to say the least. Not the best condition, which is an understatement. Pulling up to the peeling white paint of the gates of the abandoned botanical garden, a silent wind slips through the breeze as the trees seem to croak with every whir. We make our way in, walking side by side, observing the flora and occasionally collecting the beautiful foliage. It was on our way to the hill that I decided to bring up the question. Have you ever heard of the Wonderland theory? I replied. I asked. A little. Any opinions? I asked. I think we're all a little crazy. Maybe that's just me, but well, I'm a simple person. If you ever found out that you were trapped in your own mind, wouldn't you want to get out? I replied. No, not really. I like the way I am. Are you happy? I replied. No. Do you think I'm happy? I asked. Yeah. Does me being with you bring some joy into your world? I replied. Content, yes, but not exactly joy. Interesting, I replied. It was at the top of the hill that we saw it. A truly horrifying yet magnificent array of stars exploded across the canvas of the dark and bloodied reddish night sky. The reflection of the haze illuminated our clothing, making us truly radiant. We were like phoenixes the way the light danced on us. It was beautiful, but all she could do was stare in silence. On our way down, she motioned me to come over. She showed me a field of marigold that her mother planted when she was a wee toddler. She says that I seem to be really interested in what makes her happy. Well, it's not really a happy memory, so to say, but she prefers nostalgia over joy, apparently. A familiar feeling, so to speak. On our way back to the car, she decided to close her eyes and let me drive her home. How sullen she appeared, and yet how ethereal she really was. I want to make her feel the same joy I do. If only for a moment, maybe I can pull her out of this funk. On the road, though, looking back, it probably wasn't a sensible choice. I decided to speed up. Speeding on the road is never okay, but it was nighttime and my happiest memories were always on the road. 60 miles, then 75, 90. Finally. Huh? She said. What's going on? Hey, are you... The car suddenly jolted. Metal clanking and squealing with a heavy vibrato. I think I'm making her happy. I feel like this is an experience she won't forget. Uh-oh. The brakes aren't working. Are you being for real? Yeah, the doors are unlocked. Let's jump out together. No, goodbye, she said. She pushed me out of the moving car. Not only a millisecond later, I hear an explosion. The car crashed into the willow tree. I scream out loud and try to pull her body out, but it's been charred. No visible expression anywhere. My life was in pieces again. I couldn't believe it. She was really gone. In the end, I couldn't make her happy. The only thing I could do now was honor her life. I've been stopping by that marigold patch very often. The people in this town stare at me with caution and suspicion. I've been stopping by that marigold patch very often. The people in this town, they stare at me with caution and suspicion. I'm not a scary person. I just need to get out of this town. Hello everyone, I'm Giggles, and thank you so much for listening to my narration. A quick shout out to all my patrons: Melissa Perez, Geek Sanctuary, Lawrence Wallen, Andreas Anderson London, Eric Cifuentes, Krzysztof Kozak-Slazak, Jesse Hartley, and Icy Narrates. If you want to become a patron today, you can check out the link in my description below. And as always, thank you so much for your support. I'll see you in the next video.